We've all heard the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But for diabetics, that apple might come with a hidden cost. Did you know that even healthy fruits can trigger blood sugar spikes just as powerfully as sugary treats? So the question is, are these seemingly healthy snacks hiding a deadly secret? Watermelon. Let's talk about watermelon, a fruit that might surprise you with its sugar content. Think of it like this. A single serving of watermelon can be like a sneaky sugar cube disguised in delicious fruit form. This giant packs a punch when it comes to sugar. First off, watermelon has a high glycemic index, GI score of 72. This means its sugars can send your blood sugar on a wild ride after eating just a bit. Now, that might sound alarming, but don't worry too much because there are ways to enjoy watermelon wisely. One thing to note is that watermelon doesn't have much fiber. Fiber is important for our body. It helps slow down the digestion of sugars, preventing sudden spikes in blood sugar. Unfortunately, watermelon is quite low in fiber, with only about 0.4 grams per 100 grams of serving. So, what's a diabetic to do? Portion control is key here. Ditch the watermelon wedge the size of your head and grab a more reasonable slice. Also, try pairing watermelon with other foods that are high in fiber or protein. For example, you can have watermelon with a handful of nuts or a slice of cheese. These additions can help balance out the sugar content and make it easier for your body to handle. They are bodyguards for your blood sugar, helping it handle the sugar punch. Uncontrolled blood sugar is like a party gone wrong. It starts with a little sugar rush, but then things get messy. You can end up with nerve damage. This can cause pain, numbness, and weakness, especially in the feet and legs. It can also contribute to eye problems. You could potentially lose your vision if you leave it unchecked. Kidney damage is another risk, which can eventually lead to kidney failure. Unlike some sugary treats, watermelon's refreshing taste and high water content can mask the true impact on blood sugar. Diabetics might not experience the immediate crash that comes with other sugary foods. This makes it easy to overindulge and experience delayed spikes later. Think of it as a blood sugar roller coaster, not exactly a funfair ride. Here's a fun fact. Watermelons have been chilling in Egyptian tombs for over 5,000 years. Ancient pharaohs enjoyed slices of this refreshing fruit on their journey to the afterlife. But here's the surprising twist. Those pharaohs weren't indulging in the same sugary goodness we know today. Back then, watermelons were much less sweet, with a bitter bite, perfect for diabetics. Maybe that's why they lived so long. They weren't constantly battling blood sugar spikes, thanks to their bitter watermelon. Fast forward to today. Watermelon can still be a refreshing and tasty treat, but being mindful of portion size and pairing it with the right foods can make all the difference, especially if you're keeping an eye on your blood sugar levels. Pineapple. A tropical delight that brings sweetness with a side of caution. The sunshine fruit that bursts with flavor and a not-so-secret sugar punch. It's delicious and full of flavor, but you've got to be mindful of its impact on your blood sugar levels. First off, pineapple has a moderate glycemic index, GI score, typically around 73. This means that the natural sugars in pineapple can cause your blood sugar to rise more quickly compared to some other fruits. But don't worry, we can still be friends with pineapple. One thing to keep in mind is that pineapple is relatively low in fiber, just like watermelons. Remember fiber? That's the superhero nutrient that slows down sugar absorption. Since pineapple doesn't provide much fiber, all the sugar gets absorbed really quickly. So moderation is key. Otherwise, you might be saying aloha to a blood sugar spike. Now let's talk about the bright side, nutritional benefits. Pineapple is rich in vitamin C, which is great for your immune system and skin health. It also contains potassium, which is important for heart health and muscle function. Pineapple also provides folate, a vital nutrient that supports overall health. Pineapples boast a reputation for sunshine and sweetness. But beneath that golden exterior lies a surprising fact. Pineapples contain bromelain, a powerful enzyme. This enzyme has amazing benefits. It can aid digestion and reduce inflammation. Think of it as pineapple's secret weapon. However, the same enzyme that soothes some can irritate others. It can backfire for some. Diabetics with existing mouth sores or sensitive gums should be avoiding it. Bromelain can actually worsen these conditions. Bananas. Next up we have bananas, a popular fruit that's both high in carbs and packed with fiber. Nature's perfect snack, that potassium powerhouse we've all had in our lunchboxes since childhood. Bananas are a go-to snack for many people, but it's good to know how they can affect your blood sugar levels. Don't get us wrong, bananas are loaded with benefits. They're packed with fiber, which is like your blood sugar's BFF, slowing down sugar absorption and preventing those nasty spikes. But here's the not-so-secret secret. They also boast around 14 grams of sugar per banana, which is more than some of your neighbors might care to admit. Think of it as a fruit with a hidden sugary side hustle. Now, the riper the banana, the sweeter it gets. As bananas ripen, their starches convert to sugars. So, that perfectly speckled banana might be a delicious choice. But it also packs the highest sugar punch. With great sweetness comes great sugar responsibility. Now here's the fun part. Bananas are not just about their sweetness. They're like a little package of nutrition. Besides carbs and fiber, bananas are loaded with vitamin B6, which is great for your body's energy metabolism and red blood cell production. Everyone loves a good banana, right? This convenient, potassium-rich fruit has been a breakfast staple for generations. But here's a fact that might surprise you. Bananas have a tiny bit of radioactivity inside. This radioactivity comes from a natural source called potassium-40, which is found in very small amounts in all bananas. The good news is, this amount is so incredibly low that there's no danger to us. It's just kind of funny to think you're munching on a mildly radioactive snack, right? Dates. Let's talk about dates, a tasty fruit that's dense in both carbs and calories. They seem perfect for a quick energy boost, but for people with diabetes, they can be a hidden danger. Think of them as tiny sugar bombs. Just one date has a whopping 18 grams of sugar, which is a lot. That's more than your sweet tooth should be whispering about at once. This much sugar can cause problems with blood sugar levels for diabetics. To make things worse, dates are also high in carbs, another type of sugar. We're talking 18 grams of carbs per date, which can wreak havoc on your blood sugar levels if you're not careful. Too many carbs can also mess with blood sugar. So, while dates might be a tasty treat, diabetics need to approach them with the caution of a medieval knight facing a fire-breathing dragon. Instead of a fistful of dates, stick to just one. You can even pair them with some healthy nuts or yogurt to slow down that sugar rush and turn them into a more balanced snack. That way, you can still enjoy dates as a sweet reward without your blood sugar going on a roller coaster ride. Dates have a high GI of around 103, one of the highest on this list. They have a lot of sugar, like 18 grams in one date. Yikes. That means the sugar hits your bloodstream faster than you can say insulin. But dates also have good stuff our bodies need, like vitamins and minerals. So, if you have diabetes, you might need to be careful with dates or eat them in very small amounts. Maybe you could share one with a friend instead of eating the whole thing yourself. Dates can be a delicious treat, but they're like tiny energy balls. The trick is to eat just a few dates at a time, not a whole bunch. Think of them as a special occasion treat, not your everyday snack. That way, you can still enjoy their sweetness without all the sugar going crazy in your body. Whether you bake with them, blend them into smoothies, or enjoy them on their own, dates can be a delightful part of your culinary repertoire when consumed in appropriate portions. Mango. Mangoes. The taste of summer, sunshine in every juicy bite. But for diabetics, they can be a bit of a double-edged sword. Mangoes are naturally sweet and juicy. A single cup of mango slices contains about 23 grams of sugar and 100 calories. That's a fair amount of sweetness in a small serving. That's more sweetness than some candy bars care to admit. Don't get us wrong, mangoes are a nutritional powerhouse. Interestingly, mangoes are also a good source of vitamin A and C, which are great for your eyesight and immune system. They even have antioxidants that can help your body fight off inflammation. But beneath these health facts lies a surprising fact. Mangoes pack a powerful punch of sugar. A single cup of chopped mango can contain upwards of 20 grams of sugar, primarily fructose, a natural sugar that can impact blood sugar levels. This hidden sweetness might come as a shock, considering the refreshing and tangy flavor profile of mangoes. Here's the thing about mangoes. They're not very high in fiber. With only about 1.6 grams of fiber per 100 grams of fruit, they don't slow down the release of sugar into your bloodstream as much as some other fruits do. Mangoes are sugary and can cause your blood sugar to spike quickly. This is because they have a high GI. Think of the GI as a scale for how quickly foods spike your blood sugar. Mangoes have a GI of around 56, which is on the high side. So, mangoes can be a bit of a challenge for diabetics. Remember, mangoes are a delicious and healthy fruit, but enjoy them like a special summer treat, not your everyday sugar fix. Keep those portions in check, maybe pair them with some nuts or yogurt for a more balanced snack. And you can absolutely savor the taste of summer without giving your blood sugar a heart attack. Figs. Those adorable little fruits that look like jewels, but pack a punch like a tiny boxer. Don't be fooled by their sunshiny appearance. Dried figs are sugar bombs in disguise. Did you know dried figs are pretty high in carbohydrates? Just 1 cup of dried figs can give you about 48 grams of carbs. That's a lot packed into a small serving. As a result, dried figs have the potential to cause rapid spikes in blood sugar levels if you munch on too many. These little fruits are surprisingly high in sugar. A single dried fig contains around 8 grams of sugar, and even fresh figs can pack a punch with about 6 grams per serving. This is quite the concentrated sweetness. And it can lead to blood sugar spikes, making figs a potential concern for those managing diabetes. Figs wear a cloak of moderate glycemic index, GI, around 61 for fresh figs and even higher for dried varieties. That might not be the most extreme on this list, but it still signifies a potential for a significant rise in blood sugar levels. But here's the plot twist. Figs are surprisingly high in fiber, with about 8 grams per 100 grams, like a high five for your digestive system. Fun fact alert, to distract you from the potential sugar spike. Figs have been a human favorite for millennia, one of the first fruits we ever cultivated. The key for diabetics? Portion control is your BFF. Instead of going full-on fig frenzy, enjoy a few dried ones as a treat, or sprinkle some on your salad or oatmeal. Figs are a tasty and fiber-rich fruit, but for diabetics, small portions are the way to go. Think of them as an occasional sweet treat, not your go-to sugar fix. Apricots. They're like the sweet disguise fruit that seem like a perfectly healthy snack. But for diabetics, they can cause trouble. Apricots are tasty, but diabetics have got to be aware of their potential impact on blood sugar. When apricots are dried, something interesting happens. Their sugar content becomes more concentrated. This means that a small serving of dried apricots can actually contain a lot of sugar, and you don't want them to lead to rapid spikes in blood sugar levels. Here's the thing to watch out for. Some dried apricots might also have added sugars. These sugars can further increase the sugar content. It makes apricots less than ideal for those trying to manage their blood sugar. Even fresh apricots aren't completely innocent. While not quite as high in sugar as some other fruits on this list, a single apricot can still contain around 9 grams of carbohydrates. Most of this comes from natural sugars. Sure, it might seem like a small amount, but those numbers can add up, especially when consumed in larger quantities. Apricots can raise your blood sugar a little bit, but not as much as some other fruits. Apricots have a GI of around 51, which is in the middle. But that doesn't mean they're a free pass. If your body has trouble keeping your blood sugar under control, even a middle-of-the-road GI fruit like apricots can be a problem. If you have diabetes, be careful not to eat too many dried apricots at once. It's better to have a small handful as a snack sometimes, instead of a giant pile. When it comes to apricots, fresh is always best for diabetics. They're like the sugar light version with all the deliciousness and fewer spikes. While apricots are a tasty fruit, dried apricots can be high in sugar and should be consumed lightly. Don't shy away from those juicy apricots. Diabetics can enjoy them too. Stick to a single apricot for a satisfying snack. To further slow down sugar absorption and prevent blood sugar spikes, pair your apricot with a handful of almonds or a dollop of Greek yogurt. Jackfruit, the delicious fruit that's like a sugar ninja. It might seem like a diabetic dream come true, but it walks a tightrope on the sugar spectrum. Ripe jackfruit boasts a tropical sweetness and has around 19 grams of sugar per cup. This puts it on par with other high-sugar fruits that cause a rapid rise in blood sugar. It's pretty similar to white bread, due to its high GI of around 65. Now the good news. Unripe jackfruit, the kind most often used as a meat substitute, has a significantly lower sugar content of around 3 grams per cup. It's like the diet version of jackfruit, but even this seemingly safer option carries a moderate GI of around 35. If you can't regulate your blood sugar, this can still pose a challenge. While jackfruit boasts a decent amount of fiber, particularly in its unripe form, it's not enough to completely negate the impact of sugar. Jackfruit might seem safe to eat, but there's a sneaky villain hiding sometimes. A type of mold, like the black stuff you see on bread, can grow on unripe jackfruit, especially if it's hot and humid. This mold can make you really sick if you eat it because it produces toxins, like tiny poisons. The tricky part is this mold can be hard to see at first. So if you're buying unripe jackfruit, make sure it looks fresh and store it properly to avoid any moldy surprises. So while jackfruit offers exciting culinary possibilities, diabetics need to be mindful of ripeness, portion control. The best way is to pair with protein or healthy fats to minimize blood sugar spikes and still enjoy this unique fruit. Plums. Plums might seem like the perfect snack for people with diabetes, but don't be fooled by their seemingly innocent charm. Even those 7 grams of sugar per plum can add up, especially if you accidentally devour a whole bag while watching a particularly dramatic reality TV show. We've all been there, no judgment. While their GI of 51 isn't the worst, it can still cause a sugar spike if you're not careful. So even though plums aren't super sugary, you still need to be mindful of how much you eat and what type you choose. Plums have a big pit in the middle, just like peaches and cherries. This pit contains a tiny bit of a substance that can turn into poison if you eat it. But don't worry, there's only a very small amount in each pit, not enough to hurt a grown-up. The real danger would be eating a whole bunch of pits at once, which is pretty unlikely. Just remember to toss the pit in the trash and enjoy your delicious plum. Here's the good news for people with diabetes. Plums are like tiny fiber factories. Fiber helps slow down how your body absorbs sugar, which means smaller blood sugar spikes. This makes plums a better choice than many other fruits. Plus, plums have a natural tartness that can help you avoid sugary cravings. But remember, the key is to control how much you eat. Don't go overboard. So, with mindful eating, one delicious plum is plenty. And a focus on adding them into a balanced diabetic diet. Plums can be a delightful and healthy way to satisfy your sweet tooth without sending your blood sugar levels flying. Dried fruits. Let's talk about dried fruits. They're like tiny sugar surprises. Dried fruits are delicious, but they're also something to be mindful of, especially if you're watching your carb intake. So, here's the scoop. When fruits are dried, their water content is removed. This makes the sugars in the fruits more concentrated. In other words, you end up with a smaller piece of fruit that contains a lot more sugar per bite compared to its fresh counterpart. Dried fruits can be tricky for people with diabetes. They're like tiny candy bars packed with sweetness. These can cause your blood sugar to jump really high, really fast, if you eat too many at once. We're all guilty of doing that at one point or another. The good news is dried fruits still have some vitamins and fiber, which are healthy things. But the best way to enjoy them is in small portions, like a little snack every now and then. Think of them like a special treat, not your everyday go-to fruit. It's important to understand that dried fruits are easy to overeat. A small handful can quickly turn into a much larger portion, multiplying the sugar intake and the potential for blood sugar spikes. Unlike a whole piece of fruit, dried fruits are less filling, making it easy to lose track of how much you're consuming. Raisins might seem like a healthy snack, but they can be just as sugary as a candy bar. A small handful, about half a cup, can pack a whopping 30 grams of sugar. All that sugar in a tiny amount can cause your blood sugar to jump really high, really fast. This is why dried fruits can be a bit tricky for people with diabetes. Unlike fresh fruits, raisins and other dried fruits don't keep you feeling full for as long, so it's easy to lose track of how much you're munching. Instead of avoiding fruits altogether, focus on consuming them in reasonable amounts. And hey, if you accidentally inhale a handful too many raisins, don't worry, we've all been there. Just remember, a little fiber-filled friend, like an apple, or a handful of nuts alongside your fruit, can help smooth things out. Fresh fruits are generally a better choice than dried fruits or sugary fruit juices. Fresh fruits contain natural sugars along with essential nutrients and fiber. Dried fruits, on the other hand, have concentrated sugars due to the removal of water, and fruit juices often contain added sugars. The most important thing is to find a balance. Eat a variety of fruits alongside other healthy foods to keep your diet well-rounded. This way, you can still enjoy the deliciousness of fruits and keep your blood sugar levels under control.